right now on 5 on your side at 10.
Evening storms packing a punch, putting an elderly man within inches of tragedy.
He got lucky.
Weekend warm up. It's coming, but some of us may have to deal with frost before that warmer air surges in. The change is happening in the next 24 hours that let us enjoy a dry weekend.
Our top story, digging for clues.
He was in the yard digging at 2 o'clock in the morning.
The possible tip in a cold case, bringing police and the feds to a South City backyard. All this digging centered around a missing person investigation from 2020. Good evening, I'm Mike Bush.
And I'm Kelly Jackson. The search took place at a home near Dewey and Delore. 5 on your side's Robert Townsend just back from the Dutchtown neighborhood with the latest developments.
Kelly and Mike, more than a dozen police officers, SWAT team members, and FBI agents descended on the house and backyard for hours. In the end, they found nothing that could help crack the 5-year-old missing person case. It was a dramatic all-day scene that captivated neighbors.
It's very shocking to me.
I think it's crazy. All these police people in front of my house.
Neighbor after neighbor caught on cell phone video the ongoing digging in the backyard of this home at the corner of Dewey Avenue and Delore Street in South St. Louis.
This may be just a tip.
After getting that tip, SWAT team members first executed a search warrant that centered inside this house. Multiple agents with the FBI's evidence response team then moved in. That as one of their agents started digging up this backyard with an excavator, looking for clues tied to a missing person investigation from 2020.
I don't know what's going on over there.
Neighbors say a middle-aged man lives here with 2 roommates.
They only had some chickens over there and roosters and a couple of dogs. I ain't seen no digging and nothing like that, though.
I want to dispel some rumors that have been circulating on social media, and that is things from a mass grave to babies. It is deplorable that people would spread that type of misinformation in our community.
We also saw FBI agents digging around the yard with shovels as another worker scanned the grounds with special equipment.
It's very possible that we don't find anything.
And after nearly 11 and a half hours, they didn't.
No human remains have been located. The only thing that we have found is suspected narcotics, and we have detained 2 people relative to that.
It's shocking that you live in a neighborhood that you can be around people all the time and not even know what's going on with your neighbors.
Now, police tell us the 39-year-old woman they took into custody was wanted for an outstanding domestic-related warrant. The 43-year-old man was detained for a drug offense.
Tonight, a Webster Groves man in his 90s is without a home after a huge tree crashed right into his kitchen just inches from where he was sitting. It happened as storms rolled through the area just hours ago. As 5 on your side's Brent Solomon explains, the weather may not be the sole reason this happened.
Devastation hitting Wexford Avenue in Webster Groves Thursday evening.
I literally just went to the grocery store. I heard my husband called me and he said a tree fell down.
It was right across the street from Mona Sabo's home.
I did not expect it to be this bad, to be honest.
Turns out her neighbor, a man in his 90s, was home all alone when a tree in the backyard slammed right into his kitchen.
When we first arrived on the scene, he was standing up in his kitchen with his walker and could not get out because there's enough stuff and debris on the floors inside the home that there was no way he could have gotten out without some assistance.
Authorities were able to get him out.
Despite the dramatic ordeal he'd just gone through, first responders tell me the homeowner wasn't even shaken up.
He was calm. He was very matter of fact about it. He knew that there was damage to his home. He knew that there was significant possibility for injuries to him and knew he made it out without him.
Although it was storming at the time, authorities don't believe that was the only factor at play. There's the tree itself.
The center of it was just rotten, and it was just enough. I think it was just kind of waiting for the correct particular time for it to fall, and it did. We've got a lot of very older trees in town. Just maintain them, take care of them, make sure you're having an arborist come out and check on them, make sure they're still live, make sure they're still in good enough shape that when we get a little bit of wind or when we get severe weather, we don't end up with a tree on your house.
Brent Solomon, 5 on your side.
The home is now condemned. The homeowner was taken to the hospital with minor injuries. He has family in town that he is able to stay with.
Those storms are fizzling out. Now colder weather is moving in. Weather Impact Chief Meteorologist Scott Connell has been tracking those storms and changes on the way.
Yeah, we still have a few little showers out there tonight, Mike, but things are much more settled than they were. That's St. Charles right now. You can see camera lens just a little bit on the damp side. Three things you need to know. There's still a chance early tomorrow morning of us seeing a shower. And then we have the potential for a little bit of patchy frost Saturday morning, especially on the Illinois side. Weekend looks breezy and much warmer by Sunday. At the moment, though, that cooler air keeps filtering in, and with it, this band of showers dropping out of Calhoun County in through St. Charles County and into portions of St. Louis County. Not a lot. That's Chesterfield right now. Again, you can tell there's a little bit of rain out there, and yes, there's still that breeze. Temperatures have dropped back into the 50s and headed back into the 40s overnight tonight. We'll likely keep the clouds for most of the night with a few breaks here and there. Out the door tomorrow morning, don't be surprised if you get a few sprinkles. It's not going to be enough to really matter tomorrow morning. Maybe enough where you have to use your windshield wipers, but not slow down the morning rush hour. We'll talk more about the weekend, that potential for frost Saturday morning, and then our next significant potential of rainfall when that arrives in a few minutes.
Stunning video tonight of a sightseeing helicopter plunging into the Hudson River in New York City. All 6 people on board, including 3 children, died. Rescuers rushed into the water and towards the wreckage within minutes of the crash.
They told us they did everything they can to try to save these victims, and you can see the trauma in their face. They did everything they can.
2 of the adults and all 3 children were reportedly tourists from Spain. The NTSB is investigating.
Tonight, neighbors in a Missouri community believe negligence played a role in a deadly gas leak explosion. A 5-year-old was killed in last night's blast in the town of Lexington, which is east of Kansas City. An official with Liberty Gas says crews were made aware of a damaged gas line as another crew was installing a fiber optic line. Neighbors say they reported the strong odor of gas several hours before the explosion. The NTSB and the Missouri State Fire Marshal's office are investigating.
Tonight, a 14-year-old boy is in critical condition after he was shot while sleeping inside his home. Police are now searching for his father. The shooting happened overnight on Lang Drive in Ferguson. The teen's parents were home at the time. Police say the father ran off after shooting and add it may have been accidental. The teen is expected to survive his injuries. We are just 5 days away from the inauguration of a new mayor up for the city of St. Louis.
5 on your side's Laura Barczewski shows us how Mayor-elect Kara Spencer's administration is quickly taking shape. Laura?
Mike and Kelly, this is one of the fastest transitions for an incoming mayor. The last 2 incoming mayors both had 14 days. Mayor-elect Kara Spencer only has 7, but she says her team has already made a lot of progress.
Just hours after the results came in, Mayor-elect Kara Spencer says she and her team hit the ground running.
Over the last couple of days, we've met with the chiefs of the fire department, the police department, have had conversations with the governor, the county executive, and many other regional leaders to make sure that we're sharing visions, building an alignment here, and really being positioned to work to move forward together.
Spencer says she sat down with Mayor Tashara Jones and her staff on Wednesday to start the transition.
Had a brief meeting and went through some logistical things. It was very generous of her team to sit down with us and share some things, and we're grateful for that opportunity.
She says she doesn't have any plans right now to change police chiefs, but there are likely going to be some changes when it comes to cabinet members.
We're making some evaluations as we speak. There was some confusing communication that went out from Room 200 to many of the directors. I think all of the directors yesterday, we clarified really that the path through here, appointments that were made under the current administration stay in place until new positions are appointed. And we're making those evaluations, hearing from folks, and of course doing our own due diligence and pulling in folks from our own team that we have ambitions to put in leadership positions.
Spencer's already chosen 3 key members of her staff: Chief of Staff Nancy Hawes, Deputy Chief of Staff Emily Tenhouse, and Communications Director Beverly Isom.
We're working very hard, diligently, round the clock to try to to ensure that when we walk into Room 200 next Tuesday, we can move forward in a constructive manner.
Mayor-elect Spencer will be inaugurated on Tuesday, April 15th, and she'll be the city's 48th mayor.
After some political roadblocks, a new Gateway Regional Law Enforcement Training Center is moving forward. Government and police officials from St. Louis, St. Charles, Jefferson, and Franklin counties announced the project today. The $50 million price tag will be paid for entirely by a grant awarded by the Missouri Department of Public Safety. A location has not been finalized.
A carjacking caught on camera.
Yeah, you could tell it in their voice that they were really young. He was like, I don't want to shoot you, just give me the keys, just give me the keys.
Tonight, the search for two teens wanted for a two-state crime spree. From free to fee. Tonight, our Verify team is unpacking Southwest Airlines' new bag policy and who may avoid the added charge.
After a day of unsettled weather due to this upper-level system, there are good changes coming after a chilly start to the weekend. What you need to know as you make your plans.
A brazen crime caught on camera. Tonight, St. Louis police are looking for two of the three teens wanted for carjacking a man outside a daycare in the Tower Grove East neighborhood. Police say the car was later used in another carjacking at a BP gas station in North St. Louis. That's where they arrested a 17-year-old from the Metro East. Two other teens got away. Investigators believe the trio could be responsible for another carjacking in Cahokia Heights earlier this week. If you have any information, call Crime Stoppers. You can remain anonymous. 866-371-TIPS.
Some Metro East schools could soon undergo a mascot makeover. Today, the Illinois House of Representatives passed a bill that will ban local school districts from using Native American names and mascots. Supporters argue they're offensive, discriminatory, and outdated. The superintendent of Mascoutah Schools says their Indian mascot honors the heritage. He adds the change could cost the district at least $2 million.
That could be for teacher salaries, for curricular resources, to benefit our students. Instead, it will be changed for uniforms and changing our mascot. And I think that's irresponsible for the state.
The bill still has to get through the state Senate and be signed by the governor. District leaders in both Mascoutah and Collinsville are encouraging people to share their thoughts on the issue with their local elected officials.
A popular perk for some airline passengers will soon be going away.
Tonight, our Verify team is clearing up confusion over the ETA of Southwest's new bag policy. Here's Stephanie Haney.
After decades of saying bags fly free, Southwest Airlines is changing that policy and will soon start charging to check bags on flights. The upcoming rollout is causing confusion online over exactly what that means and when for their passengers. So let's verify. Will Southwest Airlines start charging for checked bags on flights in May? Our sources are the Southwest Airlines policy announcement, the company website, and a Southwest Airlines spokesperson. The comments we're seeing online say that the fees will start in May, but it's not quite that simple. Southwest announced the policy change on March 11th, saying customers who don't qualify for free bag options will be charged for their checked bags, and those changes will apply to flights booked on or after May 28th, 2025. That wording, flights booked on, leaves a little room for interpretation, so I reached out to Southwest to clarify what that means. Their spokesperson told me, Southwest customers who book travel prior to May 28th will receive 2 free checked bags, even if the travel takes place after May 28th. But for some people, that date won't matter at all because even after May 28th, some Southwest passengers will still qualify for 1 or 2 free checked bags. Specifically, people who have A-list or A-list preferred status in their Rapid Rewards program, people who pay the upcharge for a Business Select ticket, and people who use the Southwest Rapid Rewards credit card. So we can verify. The question of whether Southwest Airlines will start charging for checked bags on flights in May needs context. The answer is yes for some flights and passengers and no for others, depending on when the flights were purchased, your reward status, the type of ticket you bought, or how you paid for it. With your Verify, I'm Stephanie Haney.
What can we verify for you? Send us an email to verify@ksdk.com.
Little dog, big rescue. Tonight, we are getting a look at the pup St. Louis firefighters rescued from a 100-foot silo in North City. Firefighters aptly named the fluffy little guy Silo. We first showed you video of the rescue last night at 10. A firefighter was lowered down the silo of the abandoned Cementland art exhibit. It was once an old cement factory. It's unclear how the dog ended up there. Silo is now in the care of St. Louis Animal Care and Control. Tonight, the Little Bit Foundation is celebrating a new home. The nonprofit held a ribbon cutting and open house today for its new headquarters in Maryland Heights. The Little Bit Foundation helps under-resourced students and their families throughout the region. The organization was displaced from its former home in Brentwood due to historic flash flooding in the summer of 2022.
Well, hockey fans don't usually have to contend with a rain delay, but that's what happened today at Frozen Fest at Union Station. College hockey fans enjoying the Frozen 4 festivities had to take cover, but Frozen Fest will reopen Saturday from 12 until 6. There will be interactive games, music, food, and drink, and pep rallies under the Union Station train shed.
And they are expected to have much better weather this weekend. Chief Meteorologist Scott Connell joins us with the weather impact forecast.
Yeah, the Frozen 4 may be in St. Louis, but we're not going to be frozen this weekend for sure. All right, here you go. 3 things to know. There still could be an early shower around tomorrow. For most of us, it spritzes. It's more of an annoyance. Don't think it's going to get the roads wet like those brief downpours this afternoon. Patchy frost is possible early on Saturday morning. Then the breeze picks up and it turns us warmer. By the time we get to Sunday afternoon, some of us will hit that 80-degree mark. So probably the most important thing you need to know is it's early on Saturday morning when some spots are down into the mid-30s. Frost seems probable. The winds will be light by Saturday morning. The sky is clear. This is chilly air. Now, as you go farther west of St. Louis, you're starting to already warm aloft, so that should limit how cool we get to the west of the Mississippi River, and it also tends to limit frost formation in general. So we're thinking it's mainly east of St. Louis. Again, it's a little early in the growing season. We're not at that average last frost around St. Louis anyway, so don't plan anything too tender just yet. We have been watching these little showers. They've been holding together. That's how energetic this storm system is, enough that even after we've lost the heat of the day, we're still squeezing out a few raindrops along the 270 corridor here as you go from about Maryland Heights all the way down through Sunset Hills. That'll continue for another hour or two, and then later tonight, another patch or two of light showers rolls in. In Arnold right now, it's otherwise mostly cloudy. The bigger storms, they're certainly down to the south tonight across parts of Mississippi, Alabama, and into Georgia and South Carolina. That's your stronger storms. We were cool when those storms came through earlier today. It was so dry close to the ground. The base of the clouds over a mile high, but with all that dry air underneath, the rain, and in some cases the hail, trying to evaporate on its way down because of the dry air, that created some of our gusty winds. We did have a few gusts to 60 miles per hour. Webster Groves, you're probably looking at 35 to 45 mile per hour wind gusts when that tree that had rotted out in the middle came down this evening. Overnight, again, a few scattered smattering of very light showers. That's possible tomorrow morning. And then we're stuck in the clouds until about lunchtime. They start to break out. We'll clear out tomorrow night. And that leads us into that early Saturday morning where our temperatures in a lot of cases are down into the mid-30s and that potential for frost. And then, boom, we're back into the mid-60s Saturday afternoon. You're going to love Saturday afternoon. The winds, while they'll start to pick up, they won't be too gusty, and we're warmer. It gets even warmer as we go into Sunday, but the wind also gets stronger. We'll be close to 80 for the high Sunday afternoon, but those winds will pick up out of the south and southwest, probably gusting 30 to 35 miles per hour on Sunday afternoon. Still, a dry weekend's on the way. 56 right now. 70 was our high today. Officially, Lambert, so far that we've seen, just a trace of rain. You've had a little more perhaps in your rain gauge, especially if you had a little hail drop in there. Overnight, we settle back into the 40s. You catch a brief shower early tomorrow morning. Otherwise, it's mainly cloudy, and then we start to see those clouds breaking up. Outside of that frost chance early on Saturday, the weekend does look pretty good. Back close to 80 by Sunday, cooling it off a little bit on Monday with a slight chance for a shower, maybe a thunderstorm as a front comes through. That puts us about average for Tuesday and Wednesday. End of next week looks a little wetter, not to the extent as the end of last week, but it looks like at least the potential for a little more significant rainfall.
All right.
But the weekend, yes.
Yeah, the weekend looks good.
Scott, thanks. Corey is in with sports.
The eyes of the hockey world are on St. Louis once again. We're talking Frozen 4 as the games get underway at Enterprise Center, and hearing from the Blues owner on our town's continued spotlight on the ice. Stick around, sports is next. In the past few years, St. Louis has adopted the title of the Heartland of Hockey. We've hosted a Stanley Cup final, an NHL All-Star game, NCAA regionals, and produced countless professional players. This weekend, St. Louis is back in the hockey spotlight. The Frozen Four will crown a Division I champion at Enterprise Center. Hockey fans from all over the country are in St. Louis this week. The nightcap tonight is Boston against Penn State. Scoreless in the second period when Jack Hughes sees a loose puck and pounces all over it to beat the Nittany Lions goalie. 1-0 Boston. This game is actually still going on at Enterprise Center. Right now, Boston leads 2-0 in the second period. The first game was a classic. Defending champs Denver against Frozen Four first-timers, Western Michigan. Western Michigan took control early. Owen Michaels. That makes it 2-0 Broncos. Denver battled back, and they got the tying goal from Jared Wright with just under 3 minutes left in the game. We went to overtime, and then we went to double overtime. And 20 seconds into double OT, Michaels said, "That's enough." He wins it for Western Michigan to send the Broncos to the title game. I was over at Enterprise today and caught up with St. Louis Blues owner Tom Stillman to talk about hosting another important event in the heartland of hockey.
The heartland of hockey part of it, we've been putting a lot into building up the hockey community here and to kind of make ourselves the home of hockey across the lower Midwest. There's always going to be a hub in Minnesota and Boston. I mean, when I was young, that were kind of the only hubs. But for the central part of the Midwest, I think we can really be an important hub.
Tom Stillman's NHL team is still on the road. Blues suffered a tough loss last night in Edmonton, allowing the go-ahead goal with just 20 seconds left. As things stand today, the Blues and Wild are tied for the top wildcard spot with 93 points. The Blues have 2 games left. Minnesota has 3, but the Blues could clinch a playoff spot Saturday night in Seattle.
Yeah, really important. We got 2 games to lock down where we want to be, and we got to get back to playing the right way and being dominant for 60 minutes.
Cue the soft piano music because it is once again a time for a tradition unlike any other. The first round of the Masters is in the books at Augusta National with plenty to talk about. How about Fred Couples today? In his 40th Masters start at 65 years old, he shot 1 under. This was his best moment from 190 yards out. It's an eagle 2 on hole 14. How about that? Last year's winner picked up where he left off. Scotty Scheffler is going for his 3rd green jacket. He is tied at 2nd. At 4 under. Your leader after 1 round is Justin Rose. He shot a 7 under 65 to pace the field. Rose has 2 runner-up finishes at Augusta in his impressive career. A couple guys in this group are also at Augusta today. You saw their story this past Sunday night on Sports Plus. For 25 years, this group of friends from the Metro East has had their own tradition unlike any other, with Masters tickets for the entire weekend. They make a week out of it with 2 members of the Masters Club getting a ticket each day. And walking into Augusta never gets old.
The very first time in '98, I will tell you, the hair stood up on the back of my neck.
You're in line, you're walking through, and then all of a sudden, it just hits you in the face.
And the first time you walk in, for me, and I think for everybody, it's like, this is what golf courses look like in heaven.
Pretty good time to be a Battlehawks fan. They're in action again at the Dome on Sunday, bringing the league's best rushing offense with them against D.C. Of the top 5 rushers in the league, the Battlehawks have 3 of them, including Jacob Sailors, who leads the UFL with 4 touchdowns.
Jacob Sailors continues to be a force for us, and again, managing his snaps, making sure we get him on the field as much as possible, throughout the week, keeping him healthy. He just. And it's nice to see, Jarvie and Howard step up and do some really good things too. So, those are 2 guys I think overall that have really stepped up.
Pretty awesome weekend for sports downtown. Frozen Four championship game on Saturday. Cardinals are in town. They play Sunday. So do the Battlehawks and City SC on Sunday. I'm sure there's a couple folks out there who are going to try to hit all 3 in one day, but you could. You don't get to say that very often.
And you were mentioning Augusta and the Masters bucket list for a lot of people, and you got to experience it on Monday, kind of.
There's a lot of rain, but, I got out there. We walked most of the course. It's as pristine as they say it is.
Yeah, but now you want to go back.
Absolutely.
For sure. All right.
Very nice.
Corey, thanks.
A new spot for Harry Potter fans, and you can take Amtrak instead of the Hogwarts Express. The wizarding world of Harry Potter is now just a 5-hour drive away. The Harry Potter shop opened today on Chicago's famed Michigan Avenue. The 12,000 square foot store, one of only 4 in the world, features themed areas from the book and film series, apparel, a confectionery, and a room of wands section.
Happy hour is coming to Busch Stadium. The Cardinals are hosting the first Friday Night Live tomorrow night. The new experience in the Budweiser Terrace features $5 beers, $5 hot dogs, and $6 margaritas all game long. There will also be live music. Friday Night Live will take place every Friday night when there's a home game.
And it should be a nice evening, hopefully, tomorrow night.
I think tomorrow night you get a light wrap if you attend. I think it's a theme night or a whatever giveaway. You know, it's a good one, and it'll be dry. It'll be clearing out.
You can have $6 margaritas too.
Yeah, $6 margaritas too. No salt, please. And 65 on Saturday, 80 on Sunday. It's a great weekend ahead.
And there you have it, 5 on your side at 10. We're always streaming on 5+.
We hope you'll start your day with Today in St. Louis beginning at 4 a.m. Have a great tomorrow. Be safe.